All right, Liz, what's going on? I appreciate you obviously taking a few minutes to talk with me during this fun time that we're all dealing with. And apologies to you and everybody else if you hear kids running around or bottles being broke or anything like that. Then um, my apologies, but it's just what we're dealing with right now. So I don't want to take all your thunder. I'll kind of let you tell us what you do, but I've actually been working with Liz and her team for I guess it's been a couple years now.
Yeah,
Um,
2 years.
yeah, at least. And they have been saviors to our business as we're looking to increase certain ways or increase certain avenues for our business. And we don't need a full-time employee, but we call them, and they're able to pretty much set us up, do all the legwork to get the professional we need in at that time to help us grow our business. And then whenever we kind of get past that speed bump or that hurdle, then we're able to know exactly what we need and then hire the right person, whether that's on a full or part-time basis. After the virtual side of it, we've done what we needed, and they provided that level of support and that professional. And it works so much better for us than having to go to Fiverr or Upwork or any of those other things, because I know that you guys just always have the best team in place, and you just kind of stick them in where we need them. So anyway, that's my real quick testimonial, but would love to quickly open it up, hear a little bit about what you're doing, and then we'll kind of get into some talk about how everything's affecting your business, your clients, and then what others can maybe able to do from what you're seeing to set themselves up for whenever we get out of this.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for the very kind words. Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, what we do is we build remote teams. We do it primarily with small businesses who either don't have the full funds to hire directly, maybe 4 roles. They have just enough work for maybe 30 minutes a day or 2 hours a day. And we build out their back office. So whether they need lead generation an hour a day, marketing, CRM management, executive assistant, bookkeeping, billing, invoicing, anything you need back office, we provide for our small businesses, and they only pay for what they need. And so kind of a buzzword for that is fractional employment. And so that's what we do. And it's been great in times of prosperity, when you might have, hey, we've got some extra money, I want to start off, want to scale my business. And it's also good for times when we're a little meager, like right now, where you still have work to be done, but you're a little hesitant to make that higher, but I have an hour a day or 2 hours a day. And so it can really fit into any economic position is what we're learning, which is nice.
Yeah, it's got the flexibility of it, obviously, and it's fun whenever you say only pay for what you need. Obviously, what is that? Liberty Mutual, the commercial that is on all the time. Obviously, they're doing a good job of being everywhere right now, but so it made me think of that. But so obviously, I think that a lot of people are really during this. It's opened a lot of business owners' eyes up to just how they need to be able to adapt and be flexible, specifically whenever it comes to staff. That's one of the beautiful things about our business, and what you've helped us do is we do have flexibility right now, and we don't have that overhead or that particular salary that we may not necessarily need yet, and we kind of force ourselves into it. But then in situations like this, being able to scale up and scale back, and knowing that that's there has provided us with a lot of opportunity. How have you seen this impact, whether it's your business, your team, your clients? How are you seeing it impact, and what kind of effects is it having on business right now?
I'm going to answer that in a couple ways. One is, and I think this is pretty accurate across all businesses, specifically the service industry, is we're not seeing people sign up. So people who haven't, had done business with us before, we're not seeing waves of people come to us. If we're the marketing and networking objectives we're trying to achieve, you're just not seeing new clients come in. So that can be discouraging, but it's not surprising. Just given the unknown, we're in this limbo of what is it going to look like? We've heard projections of it's kind of like a V, right? So it went down like that, but as soon as the gates come open, they're hoping it'll go up like that. Yeah. We don't know. Hope, right? That'd be awesome. And so I think because there is no path, that we're in unprecedented waters. It's hard to say. So people are not just signing up or trying new things. That's for my business. What I'm seeing with other businesses is, especially the service industries, you're seeing just a decline, and you're just going to see that. People are trying to really minimize expenses, which is the best thing you can do, because you're not seeing revenue come in. But because of that, because our work reflects their revenue coming in, we're just seeing less hours being billed.
Yep.
Again, it's not necessarily alarming. It's not fun, right? It's not,
Yeah.
it's not fun at
Well,
all.
yeah.
But we believe in what we're doing and our clients, and we think that we'll get through this. We're just trying to be incredibly lenient and helpful in the ways that we can with our clients, because everybody just needs a little kindness, I think, a little flexibility. And so that's what we're trying to do for everybody.
Yeah, that the generosity, I think, right now is just making sure that you have empathy for everybody. I mean, we're all dealing with it together and trying to figure out win-wins and things that are going to help each other kind of push through and get through this. Because and we were talking a little bit before we hopped on the recording about the opportunities of whenever this does start to come out, the opportunities every business has to maybe set themselves up in a little bit different light, or set their brand up, because people will remember how you were during this time and what your brand did. And so that can only do anything but good once we come out of that, whenever that may be and whatever that is. As far as like the businesses out there, there's a lot of local businesses, especially whether that's service or they've got like a brick and mortar location. And they've got employees that they've had to unfortunately have to lay off right now. What do you foresee anything whenever it comes, because y'all are the masters whenever it comes to virtual assistants and virtual work. So you've been kind of naturally preparing for this and helping your clients prepare for this, right? This is now a brand new concept. I think a lot of people are opening their eyes up to that. A lot can be done virtually. What do you feel like whenever this comes back? I mean, are some things that people can be looking, or maybe they're planning right now and they're trying to figure out, okay, whenever this thing does turn back, what changes can I make? What opportunities do I have? What can I gain from this? What do you feel like that may be, or do you have any thoughts on that?
I do. So one thing is, I think that business owners who were a little hesitant to go virtual with their employees, if they are, I mean, we're talking in a world where they have W-2 full-time employees. They are hesitant to do that. And I think the number one reason that business owners are hesitant to let their team members work remote is because their fear of losing control. And so what's interesting is they were forced into it. It's sort of like, it's really scary to them and they are forced to be made to do it. So I think they're going to realize, wait, I'm not as fearful to do it now. And the reality is, when you had them in your building, it's just perceived control. It's not real control. I mean, they could be on Facebook, they could be doing whatever, but you feel like they're being productive. You can actually monitor productivity better virtually. There's lots of tools that you can do that with. So I think that they're going to maybe loosen up and let some flexibility in terms of work from home. Yep. And I also think we're going to come back from this, and the employees who are really, I hate to say, like the millennials, right, that really always want to work from home, I think they're going to meet in the middle as well and realize that they really do need that social interaction, and they're going to miss the office. And so I hope that we come back and we find a balance, because I certainly wouldn't tell you that every company should be virtual. Our economy would collapse, right? I mean, we're seeing it. So there's got to be a balance. And we are big on finding roles in companies that would benefit from efficiency and financially from being virtual. And so those are the virtual roles that we fill. Not every role can be virtual. And I wouldn't get on here and say that, because it's not accurate.
Yeah. Well, and it's such a key point what you said, because nobody has brought that part up of looking at it from the other side, where people that want to work virtual and they think that is something that would be awesome or incredible. And I'll tell you right now, it is not, the grass is not always greener on the other side. I mean, it can be difficult to have to work, especially, as we've started businesses and really had to work our way up and continue to grow that way. And it can be very lonely when you don't have that interaction. And so having that perspective on it is interesting, because I completely
Yeah,
agree. I
it's
just
so
haven't.
isolating.
Yeah, I mean, it is, because they're having to be forced to look at that as well and say, you know what, I don't know if I can do this every day. So yeah, that's actually a really good point.
I always joke that.
Sorry, go back through that
So
joke. I want to hear that.
I joke. I joke that I started a virtual company with my business partner so I could travel over the world, and I've never been in Cumming, Georgia more, because like the idea of running this business from India or Taiwan, wherever, it sounds really awesome, but I just also seek normalcy too and structure. And so at first I did travel a lot more, and now I'm home in my home office working. It's just what my life looks like.
Yeah,
So you just never know.
you never know, and that the travel stuff will come. We
Yeah.
just got to put in the work, right? Um,
Yeah.
so people going through the virtual stuff right now, obviously they're being kind of forced to do that, whichever side they're on right now. What are some things that you guys use or you would recommend, like tools to help a business owner maybe make it easier for their employees, to either their employees, or if they've got or are thinking about a virtual assistant, what tools do you guys use that helps that communication between your team member and the business that they're working with? Is there anything that are critical, like a Zoom type software where you use this nonstop? I mean, we use Zoom like a crazy amount. So, but what are some things that you think may be able to help people while they're working virtually?
So I think Zoom is crucial. And I hate to say it because at this point, everybody knows what Zoom is. And I assumed everybody did going into this work
Me
from
too.
home overnight thing, but I realized, oh wait, people don't. So now they probably do know what Zoom is. It's so crucial. One, I think looking somebody in the eye is so important, especially if they're on your team, because if you don't know already, you need to know it is isolating. And when somebody feels isolated, they feel less motivated, and you want them to feel part of the team. That you need to help them understand what there may be one cog in a big wheel, but like, what does that look like? And so we love just to do Zoom calls just to say, like, what's going on? Do you have any funny, I did this morning with our team. Do you have any funny quarantine stories? Mine was, I cut my own hair this weekend because I was really bored and I just thought I have to do something, right? So it's just laughing and having that personal conversation, because it is a huge, huge piece of keeping a team engaged. It's also a good way just to making sure I'm looking you in the eye, Brandon, and hey, do we understand each other? Yes, no, that kind of thing. So Zoom is huge. I think the other piece of the puzzle is making sure they know what's expected of them and when it's expected. So it may not be a traditional clock in, clock out. That's how you've always run your business. Now you're needing to judge it based on productivity and deliverables. And so using a project management tool like Asana, Monday.com, Trello, that's going to be a way that you can clearly communicate in written what's expected of them and when it's due. So I think that's huge, because everybody does better when they feel like they're doing a good job. And the best way to make sure they do a good job is make sure that your directions are clear. So those would be my top two.
Yeah, I mean, those are such great value points. I was sort of over here making notes. I mean, a lot of people right now are I don't think there's so many different things going on. There's so many questions, but reminding people to check in with your staff, whether that's face-to-face virtually or in person, you can get the same type of effect out of it, and why it's important to sit here and meet in person and face-to-face. Obviously, it's been crucial for our business. I mean, 95% of our deals are done through virtual because we don't work with a lot of local clients. So I mean, I can scream from the rooftops how important it is for sales and marketing from our standpoint. But the rest of the team, Megan and her team, they meet Zoom, like you said, and so that's crucial. But the best practices, all that, I think, are incredible for people right now as they're trying to navigate what this is and what's going to happen. As far as like something, as far as how you guys work really quickly. Obviously, I know from working with you for a while, and I can't tell you how easy it is for me just to call or talk with you or somebody from your team and tell them exactly what I need. And you guys, okay, all right, I got that. We'll take care of it. Just let me know when you want to hop on a call to speak with somebody that could be added to your team. And I don't really have to do anything. You guys kind of place and know what I'm looking for. What's kind of, if somebody right now, maybe they're struggling because they've had to let go of a lot of their staff and their normal business, take me through what that would look like. So a business owner right now, they've got business that they have to conduct, whether that's financial or taxes or any of that. I mean, it may just be going through and responding to emails because there's just an influx of that right now. What would you tell that person, or what can you open their eyes up to as far as like the steps in order to say, hey, this is something that I think I need help with. Boom, I call Liz, and then this is what we go through. What does that look like?
We do this a lot, and my background before I started this business with my business partner was human resources. So I'm actually talking to a lot of people because they are laying they're laying team members off. They're saying, what does furlough look like? So we're kind of advising on that, just as just like, hey, we're both humans going through this. Let me give you some free advice. But we're all, if somebody is in a place where now they've had to lay off their staff and they have all, like I laid off 3 people and I can't hire 3 people. What I do is I go through a call and just say, let's just take a second and write down, like, what are your pain points? What aren't you getting to because it stays at the bottom of your list? Or what are you getting to until 2 a.m. because you're now trying to do it all yourself? So we first just have to identify what's the work that needs to be done. And then we come in and say, okay, so that might be 2 people, 1 hour a day each. And they're going to accomplish these 2 lists of things. And we're going to try to automate that so you're not having to touch it every day, that they kind of own that process. And so it really comes into what we call needs assessment, figuring out what you need, figuring out what it's going to cost, and then seeing if you can afford it. And if you can't afford it, okay, let's pare it down to 5 items. Okay, you can afford 30 minutes a day. Let's nail those 5 things. And then once that's off your plate, you can go focus on getting more revenue, or you can focus on seeing those clients and talking to each client and making sure they're okay. So it's going to vary per business, but I mean, it just starts with a conversation of, I'm overwhelmed. Help me understand what it needs to be done and help me prioritize it. And that's something I'm proud of our team, where we're really good at doing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know from experience, and that that overwhelming feeling of going through right now, because we're in quarantine and a lot of us are stuck in our house and we've had to lay off, or we've had to unfortunately stop paying, or we don't have work specifically for that person, doesn't mean that you need to be working 24 hours a day though either, to try to go and pick up all these puzzle pieces, where you guys can really just help fill in that gap right now, which is insanely valuable, and just a way that I don't think people realize that the problems that you and your team can solve right now are massive, actually, now that I'm thinking about everything that you're able to do, because that is it. I think we all get stuck, even from the businesses, is, oh, everybody's quarantined, so I've had to lay off but that doesn't, so that means that I must have to do everything right now. Well, no.
Work has to get done. It still has to get done. So it is a hard balance of figuring out what that looks like.
Well, and plus you just need to keep, as a business, I've got 2 kids running around and virtual learnings, and, Megan's working full time. We're having to juggle all these different balls right now. It's different. So we've got to keep our sanity a little bit. I mean, there's just no way, which, obviously Kelly from your team helps us with a ton. We've been emailing with her over a bunch of different things, and she works, I don't know, like 8 states away or something, but we've been working with her so long. But that's the thing. Without that, if we had somebody in that accounting role full time, we weren't doing it the way that we have the ability to work with you and your team, then we would have probably had to let her go. And then those finances and all the invoice and all the contract work we're having to pay out and all this other stuff that we still have to do, we would still have to be doing full time. in addition to everything else that we're doing right now.
It's such
So, so I mean, it's just invaluable. So if you are feeling overwhelmed and you're looking at this, you just reach out to them. They'll at least point you in the right direction, but there's a lot of stuff that, that they can help out with, especially during this time. And that doesn't mean you have to completely get rid of who you've been working with on a full-time basis. You may just need some help over the next 60 days. And Liz and her team can do that. So as we end here, I always like to ask one question, either whether it's a best practice or just something that you guys are doing, or you're trying to have a certain mindset about all of this. For example, from our end, you know, the one way that I think whenever we get out of this, there's such an opportunity for us to come out stronger and better as a brand on the other side. And I feel like, in my mind, I'm trying to position everything that we're going through from a business and everybody else, that we're kind of playing with house money whenever it comes to time, because we're in this moment where everybody's expecting and will be okay with the excuse of you didn't make it through the pandemic as a business. And everybody's kind of expecting that. So if that's the case, then it's all about your mindset as far as how can I do everything I can to make it through. And some will consider just survive through this. Like, we're in survival mode. A lot of businesses are, regardless, because we just don't know the time. The longer this goes on, the harder it's going to be. So if we can look at it in a different light and say, you know what, I'm just going to be positive. I'm going to try everything I can. I'm going to reach out and be generous. I'm going to help any way that I can and offer up as many services as possible. Then we have an opportunity to really make a difference out on the other side. Worst case scenario, we don't make it out and everybody's like, we get it. That's okay. We kind of expect that with a lot of businesses, but you have an opportunity to make it through. Do you have anything that you're talking with your team about, or maybe a best practice that you're seeing out there, that you're trying to I guess, keep either in the forefront of your mind, or something that you are recommending to clients to consistently keep doing or thinking about right now that may be able to help people as we continue moving through this and trying to figure it all out?
Yes. So one would be, okay, how am I going to productively use this time where maybe businesses are coming in, maybe businesses leaving, you know, like crazy. I think it's a great time to work on building out processes. So really documenting everything that you do. I think that's a great use of time. It only makes your business more valuable and able to sustain the next kind of slump. For people who are saying, oh, I just don't think my business is going to get through this. This is something I inherited my father's business when I was young, and I was 19, and it was 2 years before 2008 happened. So I inherited 2006. By 2008, we had a huge recession, and we closed up everything by 2010. That was 3 stores in a wholesale division. And I look back now, and I know exactly what I would have done, and it made it through. And so when I look at our business and when I talk to other businesses, it's figure out, like, get above the problem and figure out what, if you could talk to yourself 3 years from now, what you would have done. And the reality is there are things you can do. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There are things that you can do that under normal circumstances you think, oh, I can't possibly walk away from that lease, but you might need to, right? You have to calculate, where are you bleeding and where can we stop the bleeding? And it may come at some big casualties, right? So, I mean, I could tell you exactly what I would have done differently and we would have made it through it. So that's how I would advise you to look at your business. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Figure out what those couple things that might seem really hard to do now that will make the business sustain through this period, because we will come out of it. We know that. We don't have a crystal ball of when, but we will.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's good.
No, it's great. It's great. You said about 4 or 5 different things in there that I think are extremely valuable whenever it comes to what we're dealing with. And your story of being able to look back, I think is fantastic, because you've actually gone through something like this where you can draw off of that. And a lot of people haven't, they weren't around for 2007, 2008, and really experiencing that just drastic downturn. And obviously that's completely different than what we're dealing with now. 9/11, even different than what we're dealing with now. But the uncertainty and the anxiety and the stress that it put on a lot of people is very similar, with the exception of obviously health and safety is number one in everybody's mind right now. But there are things that can still be done in order to make sure that you come out stronger and come out better. And I think, right now, as people are looking at these, knowing that you and your team, y'all have people out there that can help them do that at a with a model that it's not sticking them to a salary or some type of, they can get pay as they go with it. And so if they're looking to build out processes, right? I mean, that could be an opportunity where they're able to partner with somebody on your team for very minimal cost and very minimal commitment to really be able to help them and push them forward. And who knows, it probably will open their eyes up to a lot bigger and better things out there, I would imagine.
I think so too.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much for just taking a few minutes. I mean, you guys, I just love everything you guys are about. Obviously, I can't believe that it's been a few years now that we've been working together. Doesn't seem like that.
Yeah, we're so thankful for it, though.
But yeah, I just love everything you guys are about, and your team, everybody we've worked with there has just been incredible. You guys are so buttoned up. Like, I think you need to realize that, and we're going to all get through this together. And if there's anything you guys need, obviously reach out. Any lasting thoughts or shares, or maybe it's if people want to get in touch with you, is there a certain number or way to contact you?
Go to our website, ccmyadmin.com, and just either chat with us, or you can submit a form. We'll reach out really quick. Obviously, we are slow, like everybody else. So any lead that comes in, we're super excited.
Oh, good.
As you'd imagine. But yeah, absolutely. Would love to talk to you guys, even if it's just giving some advice.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And, look forward to making it out on the other end stronger, and look forward to speaking again soon.
Thanks, Brendan. Bye.